Well, Jose Ibarra, the illegal immigrant from Venezuela accused of killing Georgia nursing student Laken Riley, pleaded not guilty today to murder and other charges related to her death. Let's bring in Terrell County Sheriff, Texas Sheriff, retired Border Patrol agent Thaddeus Cleveland, along with Arizona Republican congressional candidate Blake Masters. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on. I want to take this video, and it's compelling and it's just heart-rending. But this is the mom of Laken Riley. She was in court today, and you could just see her kind of breaking down, and clearly nobody can blame her. The evidence against Jose Ibarra, Blake Masters, is very strong. They know it's very compelling, and yet they're putting this family through a trial. What do you think about this going forward? I mean, this really puts more focus on the Biden administration and what is happening at the border.
Trace, it just makes me so mad. You know, as a parent, I can't even imagine what poor Laken's mother and her family are going through. And yeah, her killer is in that courtroom, but only one of the killers is in that courtroom, right? What about Joe Biden? I think Laken Riley would be alive today, but for Joe Biden and his disastrous opening of the southern border. And of course, he won't be convicted. He won't be punished. He won't be held accountable. Biden, I think, has committed treason by opening our border, and innocent families like Laken Riley's and Laken herself, they have to suffer for it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that today as Biden was saying that it's reckless and dangerous for Trump to say that this trial was rigged. And you think, what has happened to the southern border and how many lives have been lost and the catastrophe that this has become over the past 3.5 years. Moving on now, the Border Patrol sheriff says that 10 members of Tren de Aragua, the violent Venezuelan gang, were caught today. They were coming into this country and caught. And you think, if they caught 10, how many got through and how many others are getting in, Sheriff?
You know, and it's great that they did catch 10, but as you allude to, many, many more are coming in. And look, and I saw Chief Owens, who is a friend of mine, and, you know, he mentioned that they're going to be going into removal proceedings, but it's likely they're not going to be removed from this country. Hopefully they'll remain in jail and won't be released. But right now, Venezuela's continuing not to take back their illegal aliens that are here in this country. So we're going to be dealing with them for quite a long time. It's very similar to the Mariel boat lift that we encountered in the early 80s from Cuba, when Cuba was sending prisoners on boats to the United States. We're still dealing with that, and we're going to continue to deal with these Venezuelans and people from many other countries for many years to come.
Yep. And part of the fallout we haven't really focused on enough is the school fallout, Blake Masters, and the Heritage Foundation analysis. This is talking about the additional cost to school and the migrants. And you see there, California, 188 million, New York, 239 million, Texas, 227 million, and your state, $10+ million. I mean, this is one of those things where test scores could not be lower in this country, and yet they are trying to teach this stuff in 2 different languages when most of these teachers don't speak 2 different languages.
Well, it makes no sense, right? And there's a huge cost, economic cost, among the other costs, to illegal immigration. Trace, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but if you were to conspire to destroy the public school system even more, you'd flood the zone with tons of kids from Yemen and China and Chad and all these countries in Africa that you kind of forgot the names of. They don't speak English. It's not good for them. They're not learning anything. And then the actual Americans in class, well, they're held back. They can't learn anything in this environment either, right? It's really crazy. And I think it's the Democrat plot to just lower the common denominator, destroy education so that they can control, right? They want citizens, not subjects who actually understand and who are actually educated. That's the plan.
I'm not sure they can destroy education anymore. I mean, they fight against charter schools. They're fighting for these illegal immigrants to have a place to go to school. And you think you are hurting the people in these underserved communities who go to these schools. Lastly, the Associated Press talking about executive action that the president could sign as early as this week. Quoting, the People told the AP that the administration was weighing some of the policies directly from a stalled bipartisan Senate border deal, including capping the number of encounters at an average of 4,000 per day. I mean, Sheriff, you know this better than anybody, but if you can cap the border, if you can shut it down at 4,000, why can't you shut it down at 0? Why couldn't we have done this 3.5 years ago or not implemented these executive orders in the first place?
You're exactly right. And look, and I do know it well. When I was actually a Border Patrol agent in Arizona, I spent 10 years out there. And look, Nogales, Arizona, where I started my career, it was the busiest station. We were catching 1,000 illegal aliens a day, 30,000 a month. And it was so much, it was overwhelming the system, meaning the assistant U.S. attorneys. They started putting thresholds, whether it was illegal alien smuggling loads or marijuana loads. And anytime you put a number to a problem, and what the cartels did is they actually started smuggling just below 500 pounds to avoid prosecution, and the same with illegal alien smuggling loads. So, so they're going to work the numbers. But I must mention, H.R. 2 that the House passed was key. The Senate bill, garbage.
Yeah. Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland, Blake Masters, gentlemen, thank you both. Have a great weekend. Meantime, Donald